Hello, my marvellous sausages. Right, just 2 days until Outriders launches, and I'm very, very excited, I have to tell you. But I've got some vital info that you need to know before the launch. So let's jump into this news burp right now. Firstly, they've said there's going to be a day 1 patch. Now, this might actually be included with the download of the game, so once it launches, we won't have a patch. But they have said there's a possibility that the patch might have to be downloaded afterwards. Have to be downloaded afterwards. Yes, something wrong with my speech pattern. I don't know what it is. Now, this patch is going to include some pretty hefty bug fixes that were sort of evident in the demo. For example, and this is the one that really got on my wick, for my Grim Marrow, one of the exotic perks, or rather, sorry, that's Destiny coming out, one of the legendary perks was they changed into like an orb of power that you can shoot and explode. Well, that never triggered. Well, they're going to be cleaning that up with this patch. They're making a balancing pass as well for changes to items, mods, enemy stats, and loot drops. So maybe we'll get a bit more dosh or a bit less, and the enemies might be tougher, or harder. Who knows? Crossplay will now be on by default because it was in beta during the demo, so that's all been sorted. PC players will be able to add cross-platform players that they have previously played with to their friends list. Now, the consoles will receive this functionality through a future patch, so the consoles won't be able to do that just yet. They also wanted to point out that if you turn crossplay off manually through the menu settings, you won't be able to automatically matchmake with people who still have it turned on. So even if you are all on the same platform, however, you can still do a direct invite. And this is quite handy as well. There's a quick mark functionality for the inventory. So it allows you to mass mark all the items based on their rarity in 1 or 2 button presses rather than to click them individually, which can still be possible to do, but this is a lot quicker. They say they've also made improvements to the cover system. That was one of the complaints about the demo, was that the cover system wasn't working quite right, so they said they've improved that, which is pretty cool, because occasionally I did find myself bumbling and vaulting over rocks into people's faces when I should have been hiding and cowering in terror. They say they've added information about the internal cooldown mechanics for mods to their descriptions, so that's really handy, so you're going to see how long the mods take to cool down, you know, if you can trigger them again and again, and what the time gap is in between them. That's handy. I'm really looking forward to the game's release, because they pointed out that the demo, we were all grinding for the legendary weapons for bloody hours. People put so much time into this demo. I mean, people put more time into this demo than they did into full games sometimes, which does say a lot about how the game gets its meat hooks into you. But it does say, because we were all kind of at World Tier 5, which is the highest tier you could have in the demo, the legendary drops were very sparse. But as we increase and go up to the 15 levels of world tiers, then we'll be getting more and more of those legendary drops. Now, they've said they've had loads more bug fixes and improvements with a particular focus on the latter section of the game. So this has obviously allowed them to see what's wrong in the demo and apply that through the whole game, which is great. The performance improvements for pacing and stuttering that was observed during the demo, because there was a bit of stuttery stuff and out of sync things as well, which is pretty cool. They've also smoothed out the camera for the cutscenes, because occasionally it felt like you were standing on a vibrating treadmill whilst in an earthquake. So it didn't, they're calming that right down, which is pretty cool. And the cutscene and the dialogue frame rates, they've done improvements on these as well. So for the PC cutscenes, you're going to have the option of 30, 60, 90, and 120 frames a second. Ooh, aren't we posh on PC? For the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5, the cutscenes will be locked to 60 frames a second, and the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 will be down to the 30 frames a second. So all that juicy stuff is going to be included on the day 1 patch, which might be rolled into the game, or you may have to download it afterwards. But there is another patch due. Now, this one, they say, is going to come in the upcoming weeks after launch, and it's obviously covering things that may be a bit more complicated to try and fix. So, for example, the controller adjustment options such as the dead zone and acceleration settings, and also different layouts for the controllers, loading time improvements for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, further improvements to the co-op games, cross-play friend list and invite system across all platforms, and bug fixes including the lore collectibles that were bugging out on second characters. But they said they're going to be building up more things into this patch as well. So we're going to be expecting one a couple of weeks from release 2. They're on it like a bonnet. If you've pre-ordered Outriders, you've got this Hell's Rangers pre-order download bonus, which is 11 guns and also additions to make the vehicle look a bit more groovy, and also outfits as well for the male and female Outriders. Now, they've said that this is only available once you unlock it at level 10, so don't go in expecting to do it straight away. However, if you've been playing the demo, you're probably already on level 7, so you haven't got that far to go anyway. And if you do accidentally dismantle it, I've seen this mentioned on the Reddits that they said they've got mechanics in place to ensure that that won't be an issue. So there we go. So your Hell Rangers stuff will be available on day 1, but you've got to be level 10, so grind, boys and girls, grind. So here's the launch info as well. Now, Xbox, you can already start preloading the game ready. You lucky buggers, you. Preloading for the PlayStation platforms can begin 48 hours in advance of release time, which is probably tomorrow, actually, thinking about it. Steam, they haven't given us preload options yet, and they're hoping to share the possibility of this next week. But the Epic Games Store, you can't preload. It's not currently possible. Now then, for the unlock of the content, you've got it all sitting there on your console ready to go. Well, it's a rolling midnight unlock across all consoles at midnight on April the 1st. Now, for the USA, this means midnight EDT on April the 1st, and it's a 2100 or 9 o'clock in the evening PDT on March the 31st. For PC and Stadia, it's a single unified global time release. So that's 9 AM PDT or 1700 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon BST, British Standard Time. The reason why they don't have a rolling unlock is because apparently those platforms only have a single timed release globally. They can't do bugger all about it. But in the description, I'm going to put a little link here for a countdown to the game's launch, which is quite exciting. So you're going to go and have a little look at there and stare at the numbers going down if you've got nothing better to do with your time. Now, the only thing I've got left to do is try and decide who I'm starting it with. And you know, I think I'm going to go Trickster to start it. Yes, my old Trickster, who I've called Savaloy. You might have noticed all my characters are named after types of sausages. I have no idea why I'm doing this. I haven't got a clue. It's just all sort of snowballed from the name of my channel. I mean, who bloody knows why people do these things, eh? Not me. So yes, Trickster for me to get the bulk of the content down, and then I think I'm going to try a Technomancer as well sprinkled in. But you can expect loads of Outriders videos from me because I'm really enjoying the game. Plus, of course, I've got all my Destiny content as well. So if you enjoy the channel and you want to get some notifications when I drop an Outriders video, click the ding ding and you get a bing bong when I wing wang. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall speak to you all again very soon. Sausage out.